I was quietly sneaking out of class when the entire school suddenly went crazy. One second I was walking through the hallway thinking nobody had noticed that I had skipped several lessons, and the next second a loud alarm started blaring everywhere. Red lights flashed across the walls, giant metal doors slammed shut, and screens all around the school switched on at the same time. Then my teacher appeared on them. Normally, he was calm and friendly, but this time, he looked completely different. His hair was sticking up, his eyes were glowing blue, and he had a huge, creepy smile on his face. "There you are!" he shouted through the speakers. "You skipped my classes. You're not escaping this school." At first I laughed because I thought it was some kind of joke, then robotic hall monitors rolled around the corner and started chasing me. That's when I realized something was seriously wrong. I took off running down the hallway while desks and lockers suddenly moved into my path. The whole place felt like one of those crazy Roblox escape games. I turned into the library hoping to hide, but books were flying through the air like birds. Behind a bookshelf, I found the school janitor hiding. He looked terrified. He quickly explained that my teacher had found a strange machine in the science lab earlier that day, and it had somehow affected his mind. Now he was obsessed with catching students who skipped class. Before I could ask any more questions, the robots crashed into the room. The janitor handed me a glowing blue keycard and pointed toward a hidden tunnel behind a shelf. "If you want to get out of here, reach the rooftop and shut down the machine," he shouted. Then I jumped into the tunnel and started running. The tunnel stretched underneath the school like a giant maze. Pipes rattled overhead and strange blue lights flashed along the walls. Eventually, I found a locked door. The blue keycard worked perfectly, and when the door opened, I stepped into the cafeteria. Except it looked nothing like a normal cafeteria anymore. Giant lunch trays floated in the air, tables moved by themselves, and rivers of chocolate milk covered parts of the floor. Suddenly, my teacher's voice echoed through the speakers again. "Activating cafeteria defenses!" A second later, giant meatballs started rolling across the room like massive boulders. I had to jump from chair to chair while avoiding flying food. One giant pizza slice flew past my head so closely that I almost fell into the chocolate milk. Somehow, I reached the other side and escaped into the gymnasium. The gym had become one giant obstacle course. Basketballs bounced everywhere. Ropes swung from the ceiling and moving platforms floated above the floor. A giant screen lit up with a message saying, "Complete the course to proceed." I didn't really have a choice. I climbed ropes, jumped across platforms, and dodged giant soccer balls flying toward me. Just when I thought I was almost finished, dozens of robotic dodgeballs launched from hidden cannons. I had to sprint, slide, and leap to avoid getting hit. After what felt like forever, I finally reached the end and pressed a glowing button. A secret elevator rose from the floor. As the doors closed behind me, my teacher appeared on another screen. "You're getting closer," he said with a strange laugh, "but you're still not escaping." At that point, I was starting to think the entire school had been turned into one giant trap designed specifically to catch me. The elevator brought me to the science wing, and things somehow became even stranger. Machines sparked everywhere, desks floated in the air, and blue energy flowed through cables along the walls. While exploring the area, I spotted tiny robotic mice carrying glowing batteries into a restricted fuel room. Curious, I followed them. Inside, I discovered a gigantic crystal machine sitting in the middle of the room. Blue energy pulsed through it and spread throughout the entire school. Before I could get a closer look, a trapdoor suddenly opened beneath me, and I fell into a huge underground chamber. That's where I finally came face to face with my teacher. His glasses glowed bright blue, and strange energy surrounded him. "You should have stayed in class," he said dramatically. Robotic rulers emerged from the walls and started swinging back and forth. I had to dodge them while climbing moving platforms. While avoiding all the obstacles, I noticed something strange attached to the back of his jacket. It was a glowing crystal shard that looked exactly like part of the giant machine. I immediately had a feeling it was controlling him somehow. After a lot of jumping and climbing, I finally reached his platform. He tried to grab me, but I managed to pull the crystal shard free. Instantly, the blue glow vanished from his eyes. He blinked several times and looked around in confusion. "What is going on?" he asked. Before I could explain, alarms began blaring throughout the chamber. the giant crystal machines started cracking apart and the whole room began shaking violently. Apparently, removing the shard had broken the machine's connection and now it was becoming dangerously unstable. Me and my teacher had no choice but to work together. We ran through emergency tunnels while pieces of the school collapsed around us. Sparks flew from broken wires, walls cracked open, and doors malfunctioned. It felt like the final level of the hardest Roblox game ever made. While running, my teacher explained that if the crystal machine exploded, the entire school could be destroyed. The only way to stop it was to reach the rooftop and activate the master shutdown switch. We raced through hallway after hallway. At one point, part of the floor collapsed, forcing us to use a laboratory cart as a bridge. At another point, a giant security door blocked our path, and my teacher had to force it open. Every second, the shaking became worse. Finally, we reached the staircase leading to the roof. When we burst through the final door, we discovered one last challenge waiting for us. A gigantic energy monster had formed from the crystal's power. It towered over the school and glowed bright blue. Lightning crackled around its body while it roared loudly enough to shake the roof. Unfortunately, the shutdown switch was located directly behind it. My teacher volunteered to distract the creature while I made a run for the switch. As he shouted and waved his arms, the monster turned toward him and launched powerful blasts of energy. Meanwhile, I sprinted across the rooftop, jumping over debris and weaving through energy barriers that suddenly appeared in my path. More than once, I nearly fell. When I finally reached the platform holding the shutdown switch, I grabbed the giant lever and pulled as hard as I could. Nothing happened. A screen flashed with the message, "Authorization required." Of course, there had to be one final problem. I shouted to my teacher and he immediately threw me his staff ID badge. I barely caught it before it fell off the roof. After scanning the badge, I pulled the lever again. This time, the entire school lit up. Across the building, machines shut down one by one. The giant energy monster froze in place before breaking apart into thousands of harmless sparkles. The alarm stopped, the shaking ended, everything became quiet. We had actually saved the school. Later, everyone gathered outside while inspectors checked the building. My teacher apologized for chasing me all over the school, and I apologized for skipping class in the first place. Looking back, it was easily the craziest day I've ever experienced. I went from sneaking out of lessons to being chased by robots, dodging giant meatballs, escaping impossible obstacle courses, surviving a collapsing school, and helping stop a giant energy monster. It felt like I had lived through an entire Roblox adventure in real life. Even though it was exciting, I learned something important. Skipping class because I thought it would be fun ended up causing a huge chain of problems. Since then, I've tried to be more responsible, but every time I walk through those hallways, I still remember the day my teacher went completely crazy and I had to escape the school to save everyone.